right now it's about 220 feet in the air. It's going to be like the crane operator when I was doing a little interview. Spoiler alert, 220 feet up in the air talking to this guy. There's so many mistakes I've made, and I'm proud of my mistakes, honestly. I'm proud of my mistakes because I've learned from my mistakes. And man, I'm getting goosebumps. That's why I know, like, I don't know if it's old age. I keep talking about this on this channel, but this really, like, I'm very passionate about this. And that's how I know, like, I know that this is the right thing. I know this is the right thing for me. I have to kind of get over that fear. If I want to do client work, if I want to grow, I need to put myself out there. I drive down there, and he also said, you might be by yourself. And he's got a Pocket 3. And I'm like, let's go. Let's go. Now you're speaking my language, right? I got the DJI, the Osmo Pocket 3. He goes, you know how to use this? Absolutely. I got to climb up all these steps. I got a harness. He said, you want to go up there? I said, absolutely, right? So they gave me a harness. I got to the top, and just an amazing view. I'm recording. I'm getting better at actually hitting the record button to start the video. All right, so today I actually have a few topics, but just based on recency, what happened today, what transpired today, and I guess, honestly, I don't know if it's anxiety, anxious. I'm not a very anxious person. When I have things to do, certain things I have to do, like I have to work overtime. I got to work. It's not so much work, but if something is transpiring at work that's not out of the norm, which is weird to say as a firefighter, out of the norm or something, well, the normal routine 24-hour shift is like we train, we cook, clean, whatever we do whatever we need to do around the station, and then a call comes out, we just react, right? So it's kind of weird to say that out of the ordinary, even though that is completely random what happens. But for me, if there's something like if I go teach at the academy, I'm anxious about making sure I know everything I need to do there to teach something, right? The same thing can be said about for this channel, and I'm on the media team for the fire department media team. And today was an overtime shift. Yesterday was a meeting. Today, which wasn't really relevant to today, it was about the team going forward. And today was a project that we didn't really have a lot of information on. And that's my biggest gripe about the media team was, or is, or whatever, is that there's a lot of, even if it's out of our hands, it's trying to go to a place to do a live event and there's a firewall, or there's a lot of feedback because everybody else is there. There's 300 people in the audience or whatever, or auditorium that have, different signal devices and cameras, and PubCom is there. Public communications is there, and they're filming, and they're hooking up their microphone and all that stuff, audio and everything, and all the signals get crossed and stuff. So there's stuff that's out of our element, I guess, in a way that we kind of like really troubleshoot. And one of my buddies on the team, Mike, was addressing in the meeting yesterday. It was along the lines of like, we know what we need to do. We need to go here. We need to film. We have multiple cameras. We have a switcher, kind of like how I use OBS. Switch from scene or camera to camera to camera, along that. And then he's like, all right, so what's problem one going to be? What's problem two? Because it's not necessarily on our equipment. There's always something else that comes up. And we have none of us went to school for this and all this other stuff, kind of like what I'm doing now, which is a YouTube university in a way, trial and error experience, all that good stuff. Well, today, to dive into it, that's a quick synopsis of what's going on. But today was a project, a pretty big project for a company that we were kind of do crane operation, right? So you see a crane in the air. This one was over 200 feet up in the air right now. And it's going to be, which is wild to think that, but it's a structure that they're working on, and it's going to be 660 feet up in the air. Not quite 66 stories, because it's not traditional 10 foot stories. It's going to be 25 foot per floor, a commercial building, all that other stuff, a manufacturing building, what they're going to do in there. I don't want to give names or anything, but it's going to be like the tallest structure from essentially like North Carolina, some portion of like North Carolina, all the way up to like Philadelphia. And I'm in Virginia. So quite the change for my neck of the woods, where we used to have a 6 floor limit. The city, that was a max you could go, 6 floors, right? So this thing is going to be 660 feet up in air. The crane, as it builds and everything, is going to be elevated to, right now it's about 220 feet in the air. It's going to be like the crane operator, when I was doing a little interview, spoiler alert, 220 feet up in the air talking to this guy. He was talking about the crane is going to be elevated 900 feet. So he has to make this this trip up and down, and he doesn't come down. He goes up for the day and he comes back down 15 hours later at quitting time. Dude, I can imagine, like, that's crazy, be 900 feet up in the air, and how they build it. Just you know, as he's in the crane, they're like they jack it up and they add to the crane to elevate it, which is wild because he has to be in it as the engineers carefully, you know, or I guess they when they jack up a portion, similar to lifting a house. However, there's nobody in the house when you're lifting it, and you're not 900 feet up in the air. Anyway, tangent. So today was uh is kind of something I need to get over. I had a friend of mine, a completely different channel, completely unrelated to this, but he was talking about imposter syndrome, and I have imposter syndrome about a few things, but after decades of it, because I have a problem with, I'm probably I would venture to say a people pleaser, and I have a problem where I feel like I don't want to let anybody down, and that's another reason that why I think that, for example, if I have to go to the academy and train some of the recruits and stuff like that, I really want to know what we're supposed to teach, so I can really like be up on it and not steer anybody wrong, and make sure that I'm up to date on whatever the skill and everything like that. Whether it's the burn team, Mayday cadre, and there's another one that's which I haven't. We just started with a recruits, a mental performance initiative. Yeah, so I just kind of like, I always want to be like in the know to teach. I want to do the best I can. That's what it boils down to. And the imposter syndrome is like, I used to think that it was a bad thing, and it can be for some people, but it took like years or decades of this necessarily, I get, or basically that imposter syndrome just means that you care. And I actually wrote it on the guy's comment when he was talking about it the other day, because it really does. It just goes to show that obviously you care. If I didn't give a damn, I'd show up and train the recruits, you know, whatever. But that's the future of the fire department, for example. So quick, kind of a long tangent, but that's kind of what I do. What preceded today's event was me wanting to get back into photography. I'd been away a little bit and taking some pictures of my dog and the moon, you know, random stuff or whatever. I had a community post about the moon, just seeing like stuff that's always right there. You just don't really pay any mind to it unless you have a camera. You're a lot more focused with a camera, no pun intended. And like slowing things down and seeing things frame by frame. And honestly, it was really cool to see what my camera could do. You know, it's a nearly 10-year-old. I think it's 9 years old or whatever. I keep forgetting, but it's about 10 years old. I think it was 2017, the Nikon D5600. And there's part of me that I keep like, I wanted to dive into another camera, wanted to buy like my forever camera. Like that's the next camera I want to say is my forever camera. If anybody's into photography watching this, I hope that's the people that are watching this. But if anybody's into photography, they're probably laughing right now, like, because the gear acquisition syndrome. I definitely have that with the action cameras. I'm very familiar with action cameras. I'm very confident in settings and stuff like that, and I'm always tweaking the settings and learning photography, videography is helping me out, obviously, for the video cameras. And so I want to get more involved with that. I want to do client work. I want to do stuff where it's not necessarily to get paid. That's obviously a bonus, right? That's a bonus. Getting money, getting, I guess, rewarded for your skill in a way, compensated for your skill, I should say. Because the rewarding part is actually seeing the pictures and growing and seeing the pictures getting better and better, the photography, the skill, the eye, or the video, and not messing up the shutter speed, right? Handheld shake or handshake and all that stuff. Not messing up the exposure compensation, not messing up the f-stop, and knowing where the best aperture is, where your native ISO, all that other stuff with the camera is unique to the camera, right? And then the only way to get there and to, I guess, fully grasp and harness the skills that you can gain or garner with that piece of technology, that camera individually, is to actually use it. Duh, right? Makes sense. Well, so I got more involved with that, and I started taking more pictures again. I've just been real busy editing on the other channel, doing some trips and some series and stuff like that. So I was mentioned about like wanting to take client work, and I was watching videos like how do you do it, whether it's product photography, family portraits, which that makes me worried because it's not me being a people pleaser. I was just talking to my mother-in-law. That's a whole different topic, different story, different video that I want to shoot. But she's she was, well, basically we had some family portraits taken, and she was talking about how, like, even she didn't particularly care for the photographer. I thought the photographer was fine. I didn't know anything about photography back then, and especially compared to where I am now. But she was saying, like, like bra straps were showing, a necklace was turned to the side, but having, I don't know, just off the top of my head, 12 people in the picture. It's hard to get, to find the right picture where all the kids, nieces and nephews. I have 8 nieces and nephews at this point, right? And they're all, young, where they're bouncing around in the picture and stuff like that. So trying to find the best picture, yeah, maybe, someone's bra strap might be showing a little bit, but I also know how to edit that out. I know how to take, through Lightroom or Photoshop. I know how to erase that. I know how to technically move a necklace over. That's something that I would have to look up in more focus. But then again, like, how experienced was a photographer? I don't know. How well versed were they with Lightroom, Photoshop, or especially Photoshop? I don't know. Maybe they just had Lightroom. Maybe they just did color correcting or something like that. But all these things are in my head, as far as that. And it's not, maybe it is fear. I don't know. I'm not some big tough guy, but, like, I'm not scared like of, like, anything at work. Climbing today, I'll get into that in a second. There was nothing scary about climbing. And when you move the crane and the whole like crane itself is starting to, like, sway and stuff. We climbed the aerial at work, ladder. The ladder truck is, over 100 feet up in the air, right? And the new ladder truck that we have has a lighter steel, but stronger, supposedly, right? But it sways, and it kind of sways in the wind and stuff. And you're up there 100 plus feet, and you're just like, okay, it's one of those things. And I've done that, like, and it's not like a beat in my chest thing. It's just so funny that, and maybe it is, maybe I am scared about it, because I'm scared about what people will think, especially paid work. It's one thing if I take pictures for myself. I really don't give a damn, right? I can take 50 shots, and I've done that. I've taken 50 shots, or I've taken 10 to 15 shots of one thing, and only 2 things are okay, or 2 images are okay, because I messed up the focus, or I was slightly off, or the handshake and the shutter speed was off. There's so many mistakes I've made, and I'm proud of my mistakes. Honestly, I'm proud of my mistakes because I've learned from my mistakes. And man, I'm getting goosebumps. That's why I know, like, I don't know if it's old age. I keep talking about this on this channel, but this really, like, I'm very passionate about this. And that's how I know, like, I know that this is the right thing. I know this is the right thing for me. Right time. There's another topic in there. That's a conversation for another day. But getting back into today, what happened? So I mentioned about that I was, man, I was like, even looking at this camera, and up until last night, it was the sale was ended last night, the 22nd of June. It's 23rd right now, 23rd of June. 22nd of June. It's like the dream camera. It's more than I'll ever need. I think, hopefully not, but in a way, it's more than I'll ever need. But I still, there's still something about keeping this camera. I have so much to learn, so much to grow on this camera. I still make mistakes. I want to get to the point where I've reached, like, the limit of the camera, or I'm limited by some things I want to do with the camera. Not the limit, but limiting myself, because truly I could use this camera forever, right? But I want my skill I want to need more to have a better image or something like that. I don't know how to word it exactly, but I still want to hold on to it, and I want to hold on to it. My goal now is, at this point, like, I want to hold on to it for, all of 2026. I don't see how that's unreasonable to learn another 6 months and to gain more knowledge and to know what the controls do. And I'm still looking up stuff. I just took pictures of a bunch of settings that I want to look up to make sure I don't forget, that I want to look up all through the settings, as far as, like, I'm still working on the different autofocuses, right? I'm still learning about that, the metering and what that does, like what that does to the image. And I want to see, even if the naked eye really doesn't see it, or the untrained eye doesn't see it, I want to be able to see it. I want to be able to show it and talk about it. And there's people that are far ahead of me, potentially, that I watch this video. I don't get a lot of views now, and that's fine. But maybe down the road, people will stumble upon this, and they'll have a lot more experience. Hopefully, I'll be a lot further than I am today, you know, even in 6 months or something like that. One of those things that if I look back at these pictures, or excuse me, to my brain, even if I look back at my videos potentially, uh, it'll be cool to see kind of how far I've come, you know, one of those deals. So today, let me dive into that because I know I'm rambling. It's probably gonna be a longer video, but oh well, is what it is. Like I said, nobody watches. So I got Pixel Alley. Yeah, there you go. So here's the deal, Pixel Alley. I'll give you this swig's for you. All right, monster. All right, great friend of the channel. This channel, next channel, all that good stuff. Go Canada. All right. So today, my chair keeps popping. Today, can't run into another problem. Go back to the media team. There's the project that came out, which was today. Obviously, I went and the conversation ensued. Emails back and forth. I said they were looking for a camera person and an editor. So of course, I'm going to volunteer for the editing position. That's what I want to do. And at the meeting yesterday, it sounds like I'm going to be like I'll be like the main editor, whatever you want to call it. So that's cool because I love doing that. I love editing. And I enjoy that a lot, right? Obviously, that's why I got on the media team, was I wanted to edit. I just wanted to edit. Okay, I didn't want a camera. That's a whole different story. I think I've already talked about it a little bit, but and then I mentioned in that email, same email, I'll be a backup camera person. I'll be a backup cameraman if you need it. You know, it's one of those things, and it's just because I'm so uncomfortable. I'm learning my camera, but we don't use my camera. We use older Canons, and they're more like video cameras. They're not even like actual like point and click cameras. They're video cameras. We have a Nikon. We have a Nikon D850, which is one of my buddy Patrick has that as well. Which honestly, I need to get familiar with that. We have a Sony. I think it's a Sony A9. It's a like a ridiculous rig. It's got the lens and the camera itself, like 10 grand. It's crazy. So I took some pictures with that for our podcast, like behind the scenes on the podcast. And it's cool to see like when you pick up a camera, and because you know the exposure triangle, you understand it, that you can kind of pick up any camera. And although the settings are going to be different, or the how to navigate through the settings are going to be different, the same thing is, you know, you find this dial, this turns. All right, what does it do? Either the shutter, I spit everywhere. Leaving it. The shutter speed, you change the shutter speed with that, or is it change the ISO? All right, it changes the shutter speed. All right, it's like mine. Where's the button for the ISO? All right, if you push and hold this and use that same thing, there's your ISO, or drop this down and spin this, whatever. You know, it's same thing as like going to Best Buy. Whole different conversation, but you can pick up any camera and start working with the camera and stuff like that. So it's really cool to like navigate through different cameras with the knowledge of your camera, because you understand it, right? Well, turns out at the meeting, looked like it was gonna be me, maybe another guy, and the guy that's kind of running the team now in the interim, and which is fine. You know, I'm there to help, but I need to be able to like, hey, if I got questions, or if you need this shot, I can get this shot, whatever. I can do all that, and that's that. I need. If it's my equipment, like I have it all day long. If it's my lav mics, I have it all day long. If it's and I know it's like, just like, I got to grab the stuff, I got to take it home, I gotta just learn it or something like that. The good things is they're like more, they're not like DJI, like the receivers or receiver and the two transmitters. They clip on your belt, right? Their lav mics are wired. You know, you put it like a lapel mic and all that stuff. So the concept's the same. Just make sure it's right channel. You can see it if it's picked up on the camera. You can see the audio, do audio test. Like I got it, right? But I've never been like a one person show. And what happened was I got here. I said I got to. I have to kind of get over that fear. If I want to do client work, if I want to grow, I need to put myself out there, right? I need to get uncomfortable. So I'm going to start saying yes within reason, as long as it doesn't take me away too much. Because here it's easier to do for a couple hours. It's easier to get out of the house and film like a training video than it is to be like on like this last group or Mayday. I only helped for one day, but that's like 7 a.m. to like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This next, week plus or whatever of Mayday, I only signed up for 2 days because that was just my availability with the dog being here. Can't leave, I can leave a half a day. I can't leave the whole day. So yesterday and today, I presented the opportunity. I was off for 2 days. I was able to go to the meeting and attend in person, help out with some equipment, moving equipment around, all that other stuff, organizing stuff, getting it organized, right? And then today, I didn't know I was going to be the camera person until yesterday. I didn't know, it's one of those things. So I was like, all right, yeah, I'm available. Let's do it. Well, here we go. So fast forward to today. I get there to the place that we're supposed to meet. I find out what time it is. I don't know exactly if this is where we're supposed to meet at 11 a.m. and this is where everything transpires. I don't know if we're supposed to meet here at 11 a.m. or because apparently we were supposed to meet somewhere at 11. I was there at 10:30 and then, or 10:20 really. Somebody from there was going to drive us over to the site, project site. Well, I texted I was there. I said I charged everything up last night. I got everything squared away. And I just let the boss know. It's like, hey, I'm here. Just give me a heads up. And then like 15 minutes later, they called me and nobody's fault. It's just one of those things, like picking up equipment. And that person was working that day. Said, look, it looks like this person that was going to pick me up is already at the site. Can you drive down there? I said, sure. So I drive down there, and he also said, you might be by yourself. And this guy, he honestly is amazing because he's talked about how just yesterday he was like he used to do wedding photography and videos and stuff. He would set up like 3 cameras. He'd put them in different locations. He'd go around taking pictures, or he'd grab another video camera and he'd go around and do the video. He'd film the whole ceremony with one person. He'd burn it to a DVD, old school, right? He doesn't do it anymore. He'd burn all the footage to a DVD and hand it to that person right there, collect a check and walk out. And it was like the same day they got their DVD and stuff, which is pretty cool. But he's comfortable, and plus that's his equipment, right? And this is all about getting better at the equipment, which is no big deal. I'll get better at the equipment. But I ended up getting to I got to the site, and he said he was going to try to stop by. They had to switch out, like I said, he had to switch out his apparatus. He was working that day, and then the other guy that said he might be here, he never got up with me. Well, he calls me when I was en route to the location. He's on the way. So it worked out. He came. In my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, I'll figure it out. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I got one tripod, I got 3 cameras, I got a DJI Ronin 2, like a gimbal. I'll set up the tripod here. I'll put another camera on the ground to where people are like walking by to get some B-roll, and then I guess I'll carry the camera with the Ronin around the gimbal. And I was like, I guess I'll figure out. I don't know if there's any talking points. I just don't. There was no direction, right? And that's the most frustrating part about. I love the media team. I love what it stands for, but we've had a really hard time with direction. And then when we get there, we think we're prepared, and then it's like something's wrong. Something goes wrong, and we've troubleshot so many problems that are even out of our doing, or out of our, what do you call it? Golly, I can't think. I don't know. It's one of those things like they just something pops up, and then we had to figure it out. We had to troubleshoot, whatever. So I got the camera. I've got all this other stuff. We're about to set up. Then the other guy shows up. The boss, right? The boss guy shows up, the interim, and he's got a Pocket 3, and I'm like, let's go. Now you're speaking my language, right? I got the DJI, the Osmo Pocket 3. He goes, you know how to use this? Absolutely. And now all of a sudden I'm filming one thing with the camera, the video camera. I got the Rode mic, all that other stuff attached to the like I said, it's like a camcorder, Canon. Also, I mean, it's put your hand, it's got that holds it in place, like old school camcorder. It's definitely got some age to it, but gets the job done, all that other stuff. Got some shots of that. And it's basically like, it's not just a project, it's about crane awareness. How do you perform a rescue 200 feet up in the air with a crane operator, right? And then fires and all that stuff. I've been on one that we just kind of stood by because it was a different city, but a crane caught on fire. And the engine up there caught on fire, hydraulic fluid and anyway, different story. But now all of a sudden the Pocket 3, because the Ronin, there's no way the Ronin won't go up there. I got to climb up all these steps. I got a harness. They said, you want to go up there? I said, absolutely. Right. So they gave me a harness. 2 other firefighters went with me, and or I went with them, and I filmed it. And I got a bunch of shots, you know, of them climbing. I got my camera on a tripod, or the city's camera on a tripod, facing up from the bottom. So that was some B-roll of us climbing the first, you know, several stories or something like that, relative to commercial or residential terms or something like that. Now walking up, going up, or whatever, zigzag, and then going up, and it was just cool because I was able to film it, and I captured it, what we needed to do. I got to the top, and just an amazing view. Walked out to the counterweight on the end. You know, we're hooked in, and make sure we're hooked in when I take the video and stuff like that. Make sure, because we did everything perfectly safe, right? But it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun once we got going. I think there's two problems. There's two problems. One, we need more information. We definitely need more information. And this is all going to tie to something in the end I just thought about. And then two, the second one, too, I need to be more willing to like throw myself out there. If I want to learn, if I want to do progress through and show that another justification, if my skill is there, but I don't want to put myself out there, then what's the point, right? I mean, it's fine for people to take photos for themselves or videos for themselves or their families or friends or something like that. But if I want to throw myself out there, I've got to be, I guess, vulnerable to a point, right? If I want to see the difference of the Nikon, you know, D5600, and the next one, I need to throw myself out there and really see what it does in family portrait, what it does in product photography, what it does. I'm telling you, I want to film a restaurant, a bar down the street, like a little dive bar for locals. I want to go there. I want to take a picture of one of their entrees, and I want to be compensated in like 6 wings and a Diet Coke. That's what I want. 6 wings and a Diet Coke, and you can have this image, and you can put it up, because they have a board that just cycles through pictures, you know, just like a picture frame that just cycles through a bunch of pictures instead of just one, whatever you call it. I don't know, a shuffle. We'll call it a shuffle. A shuffle picture frame. I'm making things up now. I'm getting delusional. I got to stop. How long is this? 26 minutes. 26 and a half minutes. Way longer than I thought. Anyway, got to the top, took that, did an interview with the crane operator, got him to tell me, hey, how long do you stay up here? 15 hours. Is there any kind of par check, accountability? He goes, I have a radio, and I text my boss when I get in, when I get to the ground, and when I get to the top, I text my boss. Do you leave? He goes, no, I stay up for 15 hours straight. You can figure that out as far as food and bathroom. What else? Oh, in case of emergency, how do you go about that? He's got a fire extinguisher. Escape path is there's only one way up, one way down. What else? I don't know. Just showed that it's a one-person operation. The cockpit. I kept calling it his office. You know, the crane operator in the office. And I found all the kill switches. I filmed all that. Filmed everything on the. Nice to have like the firefighter mentality, where I know I need to film where's all the cutoffs, right? Cutoffs for the power, for the electric pump, or actually not pump. Now I'm really a firefighter. Electric motor. There's 3 up top. How to kill the power, and then there's 1 down below at the generator. And it's gonna be similar to like all the other cranes, you know. So it's one thing that, how do you secure and power before you go up there? You know, if it's a fire, well, just, you know, find the line, find a feed to a generator on the bottom, and you know, cut the power off there before you even climb up, ascend, and you film all that. And it's something cool to have your hands on, your fingerprints on a project that essentially this could last. There's no reason. We're gonna have crane. I almost said train. I said that earlier because we had trains all over the place. But cranes, this crane awareness video that could be for training is, I mean, 10 years. It's going to be the same, I would imagine. Crane operations pretty much going to be the same. I don't see them paying 2 people up there unless OSHA gets their way, and they're going to want 2 people. They're going to want a 2-person, like a buddy system, 2 in, 2 out, like the fire department. Anyway, I just want to get to the point, and I have to throw myself out there. So maybe it's a fear of mine, and I've unlocked the fear. I love horror movies. I love scary movies. Paranormal movies are the only ones that aren't really cheesy. Zombie movies are my favorite, but I want to watch scary stuff, right? I don't get scared. I'm not scared of heights. I'm not scared of, you know, running and burning buildings. I'm not this tough guy. I don't not ride a motorcycle. It has nothing to do with that, right? Not an adrenaline junkie. I just maybe I'm anxious. I'm not. But maybe that's anxious. I don't know. Is it a fear or am I anxious or is it both? I don't know. Maybe I'll dive into that a little bit more. Talk to my chat GPT therapist. Well, anyway. Yeah, so it worked out. Everything worked out. It always works out. That's the other thing. And if it doesn't work out, just give it some time and it sure will. How about that? A little motivation at the end. Uh, yeah, so next is to download all the footage. I may or may not put some stuff in this video since it's a personal, I guess it's a personal, it wasn't city property that I filmed with. So before it leaves my house and goes to the city, maybe I can capture some of the stuff. Maybe. Anyway, that's it. That's plenty long. I don't know. I got more to talk about, but I'm gonna stop here. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Sweating at the top. Hot day, but felt good. That view, perfect. I wish I had my camera. I didn't even have my cell phone, but having the Pocket 3, the footage on the Pocket 3 will be nice. It'll be nice. Until the next time, y'all take care. I hope this recorded. Yeah, I know it recorded, but I hope the audio is good. Maybe. I gotta go. Where's my cursor? There it is. Oh. That pinky is a sign of confidence. All right, bye.